up? All right. Oh, we got people's on. We got people's on.
Over here. You got a whole team over
Coach
there.
Michelle is on.
Hey, Maria. What up, Maria?
What's up, Michelle? What's up, Lori?
Our antithetic fam is on over here.
Hey, all right.
Maria, we got Tori.
All right, we got this one's gonna be fun, guys. And where is Natalie in my thing here? Hold on.
I know, you're cutting me off. Let me in.
All right. Today's topic is
To the rescue, dun dun dun.
is going to be interesting because it's not something we normally do, but we feel like over the past.
Though.
Well, it is. But usually we talk about concepts and how do you guys think about things and try to get you to look at things differently, rethink, relearn, all those types of things. And we're going to do that again today. But we're going to do it based off of some very specific messaging that we have been working with clients and people that we're working with who have come to us who have been negatively impacted by the messaging and by the program, by the protocols that they've been following from other people. So this is a little bit different in that we're being very specific in addressing our experience working with clients who, in the words that I've received, that Coach Michelle and I in our programs have received, is people that are coming to us who feel like they've been lied to by other influencers who are doctors, who are scientists, who are experts in the field, who have not seen the progress they wanted to see and then have come to us for help and to be rescued from the bad information, misinformation, whatever you want to call it, because of the marketing, the generalized information that's being put out there as this is going to fix all of your problems, just do this one thing and everything's going to go away. And we know that doesn't work.
Essentially, it's something that we understand about the things that are out there and why influencers, gurus do the things that they do, the clickbait, the marketing tactics, right? These are things I've explained to my community before on our private calls about how to think about what they're seeing out there. And this is why we talk to you so much about how to think about the things you're seeing out there, because we want to save people. We want to save you whether you're working with us or not.
Yes. That's why I wrote the book. That's why the book, Body Confident.
Yeah, Body Confident.
The main reason that book came out is because of the frustration that I have from seeing so many people being led astray and not having a tool, not having something that they can look at to say, how does this information apply to me? How does this information apply to where I'm trying to go, where I've been, and what I'm trying to do? I think the main point, you said this when we were talking prior, is we want you to walk away from this remembering and being really keyed on, don't follow what you hear just because somebody who is an expert is saying it. Learn how to think through your individual context. What was the
seek to understand.
Seek to understand. Understand. If you can't explain why you're doing this and how it applies to you, maybe it's something you shouldn't be doing yet. Yep. Right?
Yeah. Something I see, and same thing in my community. People come in and say, "Oh my gosh, I've done in a few weeks with you what I couldn't do in years following other people and being in these other groups and communities and programs." Right. And then the other big thing is that they come in with questions about, I saw this. Should I try this?
Right.
Should I try that? And I'm always, we always come back with questions.
Why?
Right.
Why are you interested in that?
Why do you want to do that thing? What makes you think that would be a good idea for you? Right. And so, a lot of the topics we're going to talk about today, the specifics basically we're going to go down a list of the seven.
I think we have 7 things.
Things that balloons on my side. The 7 things that we see most often from clients that are things we have to rescue them from. And then, darn, I forgot where I was going with that.
How we do it, how we rescue them.
The things that we're going to talk about today, if you've listened to us,
Nothing new.
You've heard us talk about these things before.
Yeah,
Basically.
and that's so we're going to sound like a broken record, and that's a good thing. The difference in this is, and this is, she was, I don't know, you were saying maybe I don't need to say this, but I feel like we need to say this. Because we're talking about specific messages, specific things that I have heard people say or post or write or make videos about, these specific 7 things. You're going to know where these messages came from. You're going to know, if you're in the community at all, keto carnivore space, you're going to know the influencers, the doctors, the scientists, the experts,
You'll probably
where
know,
these messages are coming from. You're going to know. Nothing we say in this video is anything against the individuals. We're not trying to badmouth. This is not a bash session. This is not these people don't know what they're talking about, any of that kind of stuff. We're focusing on the message, and we want you to take the message for what it is and then understand the context which it's coming from and that you're trying to place on it.
And so that in the future, when
message.
you hear things, you can think more critically about what you're hearing.
About the information. This is about the information, not the individuals. I know all of these individuals. You've met some of them, you know some of them. They're all trying to help people, and they all are helping people. The difference of when you're listening to this thing, and we can go right into the trap.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
the reason this is an issue is because of the trap of our journeys. You may be coming into the space for the first time, and here's one of these people. Maybe one of them is what got you into trying this. And you try it, and oh my God, everything changed. My whole life is turned upside down.
You know what? Some people
and
get
for the first 6 months, everything's great.
Yep. And for others, it's not that way at all.
And for others, it's not. And understanding that if it's working for you, if you were listening to X, Y, and Z person, and it worked for you for the first 6 months, year, 2 years, and then now all of a sudden you feel like you're going backwards, you're not sure what's going on, but it was working. What happened? It's not necessarily that the information you got was bad. It worked for you at the time.
It was right for you.
You were ready for new information.
According to the context you were in at the time. Yep.
Correct. You are now in a different context. You're in
You
a
know
different
what?
place.
The term that my ladies use to describe it is that they've graduated to me and you.
Yes.
They're like, I started there.
Yes.
And I've graduated to you and Bronson. And the information that you're sharing and how you're breaking things down is now helping me where that was no longer helping me.
And that's where a lot of people are. That's when I first got started in this space. That's one of the reasons I was focused on fitness, because I was running into so many people that had been doing it and seen some success with nutrition, but then couldn't figure out what was next.
Yeah.
And my specific journey was the same thing. I got great results with fitness, same thing, but opposite. I got great results with fitness and then realized I had to combine nutrition. And so it was like, wait a second, you need both of these. So helping people graduate to the next level by including fitness was where I came in. So we're both in that. If you've been doing this for a while, how do we help you figure out your specific context so that you can get to the next level in the combination of fitness, mindset, nutrition, behavior change, lifestyle, all those different things, right? So that's where this is. What is the individual requirement that you need? And stop following the general stuff. General is a great place to get started. At some point, you really have to get specific. And that parallels fitness, right? At some point, it doesn't matter what you do. Yeah. Just do something and you're going to see an improvement in your strength and your fitness and everything else.
You do not need the perfect program.
Just do something.
You don't need to overthink exactly what you're doing in the gym. It's more get to the gym on a consistent basis.
Right.
But as you progress, just doing anything isn't going to work anymore.
Right. You need to say, okay, maybe I need to start learning how to use machines. Maybe I need to start learning how to use dumbbells or barbells and get a little bit more specific and focused in what you're doing. It's the same thing with nutrition.
Yep.
It's the exact same thing. So that lays the groundwork, that lays the basis. So let's get into
rescue mission
item number 1. And this is one that
this is the biggest, probably the biggest one.
This might be the biggest one. And there's a couple there. I think we
recently did a talk about this.
We did an overall talk. Are you eating too much fat?
Yep.
But I want to get specific in the messaging because I saw this video earlier this week, and
It set you
I
off.
immediately went and made a video for it. I made a 25, 30-minute video of just here's why this is not a thing, and then went to look at everything, and it didn't record any audio. No! I did 30 minutes of a video that no audio was recorded.
No audio.
Which is probably a good thing, because she was like, maybe that's the universe telling you.
I think that was the universe.
That wasn't the way to do that.
So that's what prompted this discussion.
That's what kind of prompted this discussion. Because like, look, I feel like I need to say something.
Got to get it off your chest.
But I might have been a little, maybe the universe was telling me, that was too inflammatory. You should not say that. So here's the statement that I heard in this video. It is impossible to overeat fat. And just that statement just triggered something in my head, because tell you what, guys, that is absolutely false. It is absolutely possible to overeat fat.
Yep.
And here's the
Michelle.
Ow!
I totally just scratched you. I'm so sorry.
She just scratched me. She stabbed me in the back of the neck.
With my daggers.
Youch, that hurt.
Sorry,
Okay,
babe.
because oh, better. Oh, better. Okay. It is absolutely possible to overeat fat. And here's the thing. The mechanism that is being put out there as why you can't overeat fat is specifically focused on bile production. So we're going to get a little, not too sciencey, but a little sciencey. So bile is needed. It's not needed. Bile is important in the breakdown of fat so that your body can digest it, okay? Bile does not digest fat. Lipase, a protein enzyme, digests fat. Bile breaks fat down into smaller pieces so that it's easier for lipase to digest it and break it down, okay? Into fatty acids and
I keep on going out of the picture, even though I keep
don't know.
moving this.
I can move it. Okay, so bile is important in the digestion process, okay? Let's just call it that.
There you go.
Your body, at about 60 grams of fat in your diet, in a meal, your body will run out of about 50% of the bile in your gallbladder. Okay, so you could eat 60 grams of fat in a meal multiple times a day, and you'll never run out of bile. Okay, if you follow the advice of eating until you are full, or eating until you've eaten, and here's the advice that comes with this, and this is why it's dangerous. Eat fat until your body tells you you can't eat it anymore. That is the signal that you are running out of bile and that your body won't be able to digest it anymore. Okay, so if I eat 120 grams of fat in one meal and my gallbladder is empty of bile now, then I can't eat anymore. I feel sick. It's uncomfortable. I get GI distress, whatever those things are. That's great. That's a great signal. I got 120 grams of fat. But.
Which I can only imagine.
Could you imagine eating 120 grams of fat at one time?
Meal?
Now, and then my body theoretically can digest it. Okay, because that's all the bile that I have. Here's what's not mentioned in this conversation. Here's the trap. Your gallbladder refills with bile within 2 to 3 hours. So you could, and it takes 2 to 4, we'll say 2 to 4 hours on the long end for your body to digest all of the fat. So if you're eating 3 meals a day in a 12-hour period, you could potentially eat 360 grams of fat a day if you were maxing out your fat intake at every meal. Okay, let's put that in context. For me to lose fat, I have to eat less than 145 grams of fat a day. So you could, if you're following this advice, you could be eating twice, if not more, of the fat grams per day that you need to lose fat that I would need to lose fat.
For most women,
and I'm 6 feet tall, 200 pounds.
Yeah.
right? For most women, it would be 3 times or more the amount of fat that you need to lose fat. This is why this is dangerous, okay? Bile is not a limiting factor for how much fat you can take in a day. It's not. It is absolutely possible to increase your body fat just by, even on carnivore, just by eating too much fat throughout the day, okay? So I want you to keep that in mind.
So the messaging that you are hearing about your body has its own limiting factor that will keep you from ever having more fat than you need for optimal body composition.
Yes. Within one meal, yes, potentially.
Potentially.
If you're eating one meal and you're getting enough protein in that meal, which I guarantee you, if you're eating the max amount of fat that your body can possibly handle in one meal, and you're trying to maximize your protein intake in that one meal,
there's no way you're going to be able to do that.
There's no way.
Well, and that's kind of what they're saying.
They don't work. It doesn't work that way.
What they're trying to say is that you're not going to be able to eat that much. You're going to get full. You're going to get stuffed. You're not going to be able to possibly eat that much.
Which then again, in reality, doesn't help the case, because if you're not, then you could do more later and then you max it out every time. Yeah.
But that's kind of getting into another number that we had, is this concept of the satiety.
Right. Which is the number 2.
Number 2. So that leads into that perfectly.
Right. Eat until you're full at every meal.
Because I do understand that concept of, like, you shouldn't be, if you are optimized health-wise, body composition, all of that, it is going to be very difficult to overeat what your body needs. Mm-hmm. But most of the people who have come to carnivore keto have come because they're not optimized. They're not healthy. They're not at their optimal body composition.
They're used to just eating all the time.
So you absolutely can eat too much if you're listening to the advice to eat until comfortably stuffed.
Especially, well, and there's a couple different ways with this. There's people who are coming into carnivore, and this is the trap, guys. These are the nuances of the trap. People who are coming in who are used to eating 6 meals a day, who go carnivore and they still have the 6 meal a day concept. So they're eating small little amounts. And then they're like, I'm so hungry all the time. And then they snack, and then they don't stay on plan, and all these other different things. The advice initially, eat more, can be helpful, because they have to change their whole mindset around what a meal is.
Right. And, okay, especially for my ladies, right? When you go carnivore and you're used to eating meals of 3 to 6 ounces of meat in a meal. Mm-hmm. If you go carnivore and now that's the only thing on your plate, 3 to 4, 5, maybe up to 6 ounces of meat is not going to be enough. And it's just what we're used to when we also have other things on the plate.
Right.
Even American servings in restaurants are not going to be enough for what you would need to be consuming per meal on a carnivore diet. So we understand where this advice is coming from.
Yes.
To eat more, because some people absolutely don't eat enough.
Don't eat enough.
That'll be another thing we'll talk about. But
where this goes wrong for a lot of people is those people who are on the other side of it, who habitually overeat already, and they just have a mindset around, if there is food in front of me, I'm going to eat it until I can't eat anymore.
And we're talking about people with binge eating. What do they call volume eaters?
Volume eaters, yep.
Those of you who could easily binge anything.
I've had clients.
Not just because you've taken the carbs out, now you're not going to binge anymore.
Right. It's just a mindset around it. I've had clients who are like, I don't know how to not eat. Like, if you put a pound of meat in front of me, I'll eat it. If you put 3 pounds of meat in front of me, I'm going to eat it. Like, they're wired that way. So partially because they have a poor relationship with food. So there's some mind work stuff that has to be done there, but also their signaling is just broken because they've been doing it for so long. They don't recognize the signals when they're there. Or the signals are just shut off completely, so they don't even happen anymore.
Yes.
So there is a case to be made for some people where you have to give them macros and amounts and don't eat more than guidelines.
Limits.
With an individual by individual. There are some people like, look, these are your macros. I don't care if you think you're hungry. We can guarantee that you're getting the nutrition that your body needs. You don't need to eat more than this. So we have to do the mind work stuff to get you to understand what this is like. And then over time, you reset those satiety signals, you reset the mindset.
And the habit.
And the habits,
the habit
right?
is such a huge piece of it too. Like you mentioned, this mental piece of, if we've always been taught to be the clean plate club, right? It's overriding your body's signals that it's trying to tell you, and you just can't hear them. So you may not be getting the signal, or you may not be listening for it.
Right.
So this concept, I understand the reason for the messaging, but this is where, when we talk about the messages for the masses, that you might be falling through the cracks.
Yes.
Because it's not meant for you.
Or it was at one point, but you're still doing it even though you don't need to.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's where a lot of this stuff comes from, guys. We talked about this at the beginning. A lot of this messaging may be a good starting point for someone off the street.
Yes.
And it may have worked for you because there were some initial changes that you made, or coming off a standard American diet, or coming off of who knows what else.
When you're used to shoving your face with carbs and fats and hyperpalatable foods, you're tempted to do that. You're in the beginning stages where all you want to do is dive right back into the sugar.
I would rather
you need to stuff your face with too much.
Initially, right. Yeah, exactly, right. Like,
just
if
eat something to keep you from putting your hand in the cookie jar.
Because the benefit, here's the kicker, guys. We're talking about metabolic health, metabolic function. The benefit of going keto carnivore, whole foods, animal-based keto carnivore, is the reduction of the crap. So if you're going to stuff your face, then step number one could be, I'm going to stuff my face with steak versus Dunkin' Donuts.
Steak over cake.
You're going to see an improvement in your health and your metabolic function.
Yes.
Until you don't.
And then
that's when you call us. That's when you call us and figure out what's next.
Squad.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So that's two.
So yes, you can overeat fat.
You can overeat fat. Bile is not a limiting factor in fat intake.
And two, eating until you're stuffed
at every meal is not good. All the time. For everyone.
Yep.
Right? It's not, I have my note here, is not a good idea if your satiety signals are broken. Okay? You can't gain fat on carnivore if your insulin is low.
Funny enough, just yesterday, our friend Danny Conway, in her stories, by the way, if y'all are not following her, in her stories, she answers questions every single day. I am so impressed by her.
Wow, I didn't know that.
She is in there answering questions all day, every day. It's amazing. Anyway, just yesterday, she was talking about how she sees people with perfect insulin levels
gain fat. Okay, this is again a messaging thing, and there's actually two sides of this coin, because there are camps right now that are fighting over insulin. Guys, I think I did a video on this that's coming out shortly, specifically this, and I kind of went into it a little bit. Who gives a crap about insulin? Okay, the mechanism of insulin being the reason you're gaining fat is not the reason you're gaining fat. That's just, insulin is the car. If you keep driving to the donut store, then you're gonna gain fat. Stop driving to the donut store and you won't gain any fat. That is how it works, right?
Here's the thing,
if you keep putting the stuff in the car, then it's gonna get where the car is going.
If you have a problem with insulin, do you need to fix it? Yes.
Yes.
You need to work on improving your insulin. But once your insulin is taken care of, that does not mean everything else is just magically going to start fixing itself.
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing. So the idea that you can't gain fat without high insulin, and I'm saying high insulin specifically, is incorrect, because guess what, guys? Insulin is always in play. It is always in play. It is always available in your body. And if you have excess anything, your body is going to store it if it's not going to use it. Anything that is not used is going to be stored, unless except the protein, it'll then get excreted. Okay? So when it comes to fuel macros, fat and carbs, it's going to get stored if it's not being used. Okay? So the whole insulin discussion, I honestly am like, why are we even, what does it matter? You guys know, if you eat more than your macro threshold, we've talked about macro thresholds before, okay? How much fat and carbs can I eat before I gain weight, before I gain fat, right? If you don't know what that is, figure out what that is. Who cares what your insulin is? If you eat more than this, I gain fat. If I eat less than this, I don't gain fat. End of discussion.
Well, that's the problem, is that the messaging you're being told is you don't need to worry about any of that. There's no such thing as thresholds.
Well, there's different definitions for thresholds. That's a whole nother thing, right? Personal fat threshold.
Well, and this whole
all that other
insulin thing
stuff.
gets back to the carbs are the only thing that matters.
Right.
Right? It's like, as long as your carbs are low, nothing else matters.
Right, which is, as we discussed in the first point, not true. You can gain fat on carnivore. Guys, okay, what am I doing right now?
Talking?
No, my personal journey. What am I doing right now?
You're losing body fat.
I am
right now.
on a cut. I am cutting right now.
We're both cutting right now.
Okay, I've been cutting. Yesterday was the end of week 5 for me.
Oh, we're like on the same timeline, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I go through my male PMS when you go through your female PMS.
This is true. He
We're
goes
doing all
through
this
his
stuff.
Nancy.
I get moody when she's got her period.
Sympathy
period, man period.
Nancy's,
We're on the same cycle. So yesterday was the end of week 5 for me. In the last 5 weeks, guys, I've lost almost 10 pounds. Okay?
Women, don't get upset.
Just
He started
by
at 200.
reducing my fat. That's all I did. Okay? How did I gain those 10 pounds?
Eating more fat.
Eating more fat. Right? The adjustment of body fat can be managed by the increase or the decrease of external fat, dietary fat. Okay? 103,000%. That's not a real percent, but you know. Okay? All right. Is that good on the you can't gain fat on carnivore if your insulin is low? We good there?
Yep.
My note is BS.
Yeah. For the same reasons we addressed above.
Right.
Now this is going in the other direction. So did we have another one we want to address before we get to that one?
Well, since we're on the fat loss stuff, we can skip
The
and go.
healing?
You want to do the healing
Yeah,
one?
because then that'll lead into.
Oh, we
this
also
one.
got the protein too. The opposite.
Right, that can go with this one. Those two are on the other
do
side
this
of the
one then.
coin. Okay, so next, you can't lose weight until you heal. How many of you have been in the groups, in the forums, and you've complained about not losing weight or gaining weight on carnivore or keto, and you are told, you just need to heal. You need to give it more time, you're healing.
Yep.
And how many of you are waiting months and years, 6 months, 2 years? I've had ladies 5 years in, up and
these
down
groups,
the same
I'm still
5
waiting. I'm
pounds,
still trying to heal.
and you're still being told you're not healed yet, and it's the reason your body's not losing body
And you
fat.
know why this is a trap?
Why?
Because you have to eat fat to heal.
Oh yeah, eat more fat so you can heal.
You need fat to heal. That's why you need more fat. That's why you need more fat. Everything is an excuse to eat more fat.
Yep.
And it's further evidence of what we just talked about before, is that if that is your focus and you think fat is the answer, that's why you're working with us now to realize that protein intake, adequate fat, not more fat than you need, physical training, resistance training, exercise, movement, all of these things come together because weight loss is a part of healing. It is not separate from healing.
I just talked about this week. This came up on my feedback for my group. Somebody mentioned, I know that, maybe that I shouldn't be focused on weight loss, but in my case, I have high blood pressure, this, that, and the other, all these health issues. I need to lose weight. And we beat the drum as much as many others to not make weight loss the only thing that you're focusing on. But my people, my fam who are obese, you have a lot of body fat. Weight loss is a part of the healing journey. If you are stuck and you are not losing any weight,
And you haven't been for a long time.
and you haven't been for 6 months, 2 years, 5 years on carnivore, there's a problem. There's something that needs to be changed, because if you are healing, you will also be losing weight when you have a lot of body fat to lose.
The whole idea of you won't lose weight until you're healed is missing the point that if you're in the healing process, you should also be losing weight.
You should see the weight loss.
Right? That's how it works.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you're not seeing, here's the thing, if you're not seeing, let me see if I say this right. If you're not seeing the fat loss that you're looking for in the process, the journey of healing, then that means you probably aren't healing the way that you think you want to.
And the answer is not eat more fat.
And the answer is also not stop eating fat.
Do you want to let that take us into the next topic? Well, and here's the thing. Look, sometimes people are telling you, I think real quick before we get into the other side of the coin, you are being told all you need to heal is carnivore. You don't need to look at anything else. If it's not working, you just need to eat more fat. You just need to carnivore harder. All of these things,
yes.
right? There's probably something else you need to look at. Either you need to fix your macros and you need to start moving your body.
Yes.
That's actually probably the low-hanging fruit you need to look at first.
Yes.
But beyond that, there may be other medical things that you need to address.
There's so many things, because
that carnivore may never fix
for you. Also, this is a whole, we can get deep into this. Number one, the idea that any one thing is going to fix everything is BS. The ketogenic diet is being touted to do all these sorts of different things.
Miracle.
And I'm not going to deny any of those things, and they are amazing. But here's the thing. It's only part of the equation. I don't care how much we claim or we can prove that the ketogenic diet does to improve metabolic function. You still need to move your body. You still need lean mass. You still need protein. You still need all of these other things that go into how we define quality of life.
Yes.
Okay. And I was going on a rant and totally forgot where I wanted to go with that.
Carnivore won't fix everything.
Carnivore won't fix everything. And that's the crux of it. I totally forgot where I wanted to go with that. Gosh, I hate when that happens.
I feel like it'll come back up.
It might come back up. Okay. That's going to bug the crap out of me.
Ultimately, don't just keep doing what you're doing, hoping and wishing on a prayer that it will one day work.
Right. Because the harder you lean, I think part of it was that phrase we said, right? Carnivore harder or keto harder. Guys, that advice, what really gets my goat is the whole concept of, well, you're just doing it wrong. Okay. There is one way to do keto, and you guys have heard the keto your way phrase, right? You guys have heard that. And that is absolutely what we need to be doing. Figuring out, that's why we're here, to help people figure out what it is about their lifestyle now that needs to change to get to the lifestyle they want to be. Okay? So that is basically what we're talking about. All right, I'm totally off because I forgot. It just left my brain. Anywho, the next topic is low fat.
Yes.
You want to take
That's
that?
where you were going.
That's where I was going, but I wanted to go somewhere else before that.
But there was something I was about to say too. Oh, you're being told not to do. Oh yeah, while you're being told that you just need to carnivore keto harder, you're also being told don't get on the scale. Stop looking. Since you're not losing weight, just stop looking at the scale. Don't measure anything. Don't track anything. Don't track your food. You shouldn't be looking at macros. All of that. right? It's like,
Oh, I didn't even talk about that
you're
one.
being told not to look at anything.
We have 8 things now.
Not to analyze anything you're doing. Just go harder on carnivore or keto.
Yeah. 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 Well,
That doesn't make any sense, y'all.
right. Right. If you're not tracking, you're not trying. This makes 8 things.
Okay.
Because there's another program, personality influencer out there who's very much all about intuitive. If you feel like it, do it. If you don't feel like it, don't do it. And I have people who are coming back from that, who are more messed up. Like they were with me for a while. They wanted to try some new things. They went to this, try this. They came back and they're so messed up with things. And it's so hard to get back into a mindset of here's the problem with doing everything intuitively. You're giving up control because you are basically saying, I'm going to feel it out. There's no plan. There's no measurement. There's no way to track what you're doing and what the impact of what you're doing is having on your progress.
And you know what it opens you up to? I hear this all the time from, clients who are struggling, who are like tracking everything, doing what we do. And they get to a point where they're like, you know what? I just need a break.
Right.
I need to just stop tracking for a while, stop getting on the scale, stop doing a structured training program. I just need to stop all that for now. It's just too stressful. And guess what happens? Every single time.
Right back.
Emotional justification for cheats, sweets, treats, all the things.
Cheats, sweets, and treats. I like it.
Oh my. And then sedentary lifestyle because I'm no longer following a program. So now I'm just not going to work out at all. Next thing you know, months go by, they come back. I've put on 30 pounds, help.
Yep.
Yeah. Stop looking at everything did not help. That was you wanting to justify poor decisions that you know are not serving you.
Yep.
And the reason why this messaging from these gurus is so attractive is because sometimes when you're not seeing the results you want to see, you're tired of trying and you want to stop trying.
Yeah.
And this is giving you the excuse and the justification to stop trying.
Yep.
Well, this person says to just do this. So that feels so easy, so I'd rather do that.
Right.
And then you're guaranteed not to get the results.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's the struggle for us as coaches. And when we see people making progress, consistently improving, and then they're not seeing it because they're looking at one thing versus the 10 other things that are happening. So we're seeing this great improvement, but because they're so hyper-focused on one thing that's not changing, they don't see it, so they want to change and do something else.
Yep.
And then they stop everything and go do this other thing, and then all the other 10 things they made improvement on also go to crap.
Yep.
And then it's like,
God, it's so true.
It's so hard as a coach to see that happen. So
it is so hard. Now, this is the perfect segue into the next thing.
Low fat?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I just explained this to my group last week.
Okay.
The low fat, the super low fat, the PSMF, you only need 50 grams of fat, and these kinds of groups. The reason that is being promoted, the reason that is widely promoted as messaging is because most people are going to get results on that.
Yeah.
And people want results. The people who are seeking the fat loss want results, and the people who are promoting it want their people to get results so that they can talk about the results, so that they can share, look at how many people I'm helping. This person lost 10 pounds in the first month. This person lost all this weight, and they just love to talk about the weight loss, right? So doing this is going to get you quick weight loss, but it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. It doesn't mean that it's a healthy thing to do. And it becomes addictive for people.
It becomes addictive, and it goes in the wrong direction many times, right? Because when we have people who are coming to us, women in particular, who are already underweight and under fat, who are talking about how can I implement PSMF to get leaner? Why? What?
Put your thumb down.
What? Why do you want to get lean?
I've got like 3 thumbs
We
up
have
here.
we have women who are at 60% skeletal muscle mass to body weight percentage, and they're at 15, 12, 13% body fat trying to get leaner. And it's like, no, you need to put on 20 pounds.
And some of that needs to be fat.
And some of that needs to be fat. You need 5% more fat than you have in your body right now in order to be healthy. You're wondering, and here's the disconnect. A lot of these women are having trouble sleeping. They have high cortisol. They have stress. They have all of these hormonal problems. They're having
hair
loss, all of the skin issue. They're having all of these issues that are symptoms of not having enough fat because they're low fat on their body and their intake is low.
Yep.
Okay. If you are obese, then low fat, and there's a balance here too, then lower fat can be beneficial, will be beneficial to your fat loss. Okay. Here's the trap. Here's the thing we try to avoid. We don't want to go to extremes. You have to understand the phrase minimum effective dose. Okay?
I want to shout it from the rooftops and shove it down your throat.
Right. If I can lose weight, if I can lose body fat at 135 grams per day, and I consistently lose a pound a week, half a pound a week, why do I need to go to 80?
Or 50 or 40.
Or 50 or 40. If you can lose weight sustainably over a long period of time, why do I want to completely upset the apple cart of my metabolism and the homeostasis in my body by saying, oh, well, it'll go faster if I go from 120 to 70.
The trap is faster. I have a trip coming up. I have a special event coming up. I'm just going to go harder. Let me do PSMS so I can get there faster.
Right.
Guess what's going to happen?
You're totally messing everything up.
How quickly do you want to put it back on? How long do you want to keep it off?
If you're not making sustainable changes, which means, okay, layman's terms, sustainable changes, when I say that, what I mean is small changes that you can sustain over time. Okay? If you make big changes, guess what doesn't happen? The bigger the change, the smaller the time. The smaller the change, the bigger the time. Right? Yep. That's what we're talking about. Okay? Do you want to take one step outside your comfort zone? Or do you want to try and take a running leap and get as far as possible? You're not going to the further away from your comfort zone you are, the quicker you're going to want to come back.
Yep.
Right? That's how that works.
Yep.
So,
and you're going to set yourself up. We've talked before about metabolic adaptation.
Right.
And how what do they call it? The starvation mode is not a thing.
Is not a thing. Right.
And the reason why you now can't eat what you used to be able to eat without putting on weight is because you did those extreme things.
You messed your body up.
That got you downregulated your metabolism. And now, if you don't take the time to build it back up, you're never going to be able to eat enough. You're never going to be able to eat what you used to eat and be able to maintain again.
Yeah.
So don't go to the extremes. Speaking of extremes, we should talk about this.
That's the last one, I think. Oh, no, we got two more. We got these two.
Or, these are kind of...
Well, no, we want to talk about this one first?
Yeah.
This is more you.
Because that's extreme.
This is more you. Let's talk about extreme.
That was you too. You were
well, but this part of it.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So we got two more. I think we've gone over 6, right? So let's just recap real quick. Impossible to overeat fat. False. Eat until you're full. Not a good idea all the time. Can't gain fat on carnivore if your insulin is low. BS. You can't lose weight until you heal. No.
BS.
Weight loss is part of healing. High protein and very low fat is best for fat loss. Not in every case. Okay.
Yep. And not for
extended periods of time. Okay. So is that 6? That's 6. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay. 2 more.
2 more.
You want to do this one first?
Yeah. Let's go for it. Another form of extremism.
Priming, feasting, and fasting.
Feasting and fasting.
I personally have had at least 6 people, I think 5 or 6 people, who have contacted me and or joined my programs who are coming from the priming community. who just everything just got turned upside down. Did not think they had a bad relationship with food. Came out of it with a completely messed up relationship with food. No idea how to stay on track. No idea. Their satiety signals were all messed up. Their cravings were out of control. It created a habit of binging. Like there's a whole bunch of things that happen when they did this.
Feasting and fasting, you are literally teaching your body
to binge.
To binge and then restrict.
Right.
Binge and then restrict. And the restriction is going to lead to the next binge. Because every time you do eat, you're now eating copious amounts of food that you would never eat, that a human would never eat in one meal. But you're doing this OMAD and then fasting for 24 hours. And you're teaching your body to either starve or binge.
Right. There's no balance.
Hello, guess what I was doing when I was in the midst of my bulimia relapse? And leading up to that, what I had done really for years.
Yeah.
I had a coach that encouraged the fasting days and the 1 meal a day. Granted, that coach was telling me to manage the 1 meal a day, to not have it be a binge amount. But it was after that, it was 2 years later where the mental stuff starts kicking in, right? Now I have to try to not eat all day because the only way I can not overeat is to not eat all day. So let me just wait. And then I would have a meal, I'd be ravenous by then. Or I wasn't hungry until I started eating, and then I couldn't stop. And then I allowed myself to purge. Mm-hmm. And then that created the full-fledged bulimia for 6 months before I started to step out of it. So you may think that would never happen to you, but I can promise you when you're doing these things nutritionally, you are depriving your body of nutrients, and then you are literally abusing your digestive system.
And your metabolism. Because your metabolism is going from I've got more than I need to I don't have enough. I've got more than I need. I don't have enough. I've got more than I need. I don't have enough. Like
you are
it never knows what to do.
Body out. And these, you know what? We're not talking about this today, but this whole cortisol thing. That could be a whole separate talk. About the obsession with cortisol.
Yes.
You know how to screw up your cortisol rhythm? Priming and fasting.
Yep.
You are constantly putting your body into a stress state.
Yeah.
You're stressed by not having enough, and then you're stressed by having too much. If you were to just eat normal portions 2 to 3 times a day, you would teach your body how to live in a homeostatic balance, which is what your body wants to do. Yeah. That's how your body stops stressing out.
Right. And the idea that you're getting enough nutrition in one meal, in one day, that's going to last you through the fasting periods.
It's not true most of the time.
Is because in the fasting periods, you're increasing autophagy, you're doing all of these other things that are beneficial to your body, is another shortcut method that is focused on fat loss and is focused on doing anything other than lifting weights, exercising, and telling your body it needs to get better at life.
Yep.
Okay? I'll say this again.
The same goals.
She'll say it this time.
Without the extremes.
Yes.
Just being in a slight caloric deficit, meaning just eating a little bit less than what your body needs to maintain its current levels of body fat, and moving your body, doing any form of exercise, for those of you who are not doing exercise, but particularly strength training, will also promote autophagy. You don't need to go to the extreme of fasting. And guess what else? Ketogenic, carnivore diets are already fasting
mimicking. They mimic the process. So you
don't need to.
I did a video on this. We've talked about this. Yep. If you are ketogenic, if you're following a ketogenic diet, you are already getting the benefits of fasting in your daily nutrition. You don't need to fast on top of doing keto. Do we need to say that again?
Somebody just asked, what is your thought on fasting for healing? The exact same thought
What
that
we
we're
just
sharing
said.
right now.
Just
It's
by
not
being
necessary.
ketogenic, you are getting the benefits of fasting.
Same thing with exercise.
If you look up starvation, if you look up the ketogenic, what does ketogenic mean? If you look up ketosis, all of these things, if you look into them, they are all based on two things. Okay, the benefits.
Balloons.
She got balloons on her Instagram side. The benefits of the ketogenic diet are realized in the absence of food in general or the restriction of dietary carbohydrates. Fasting benefits from carbohydrate restriction. Period. You do not have to starve yourself of nutrients in order to get the benefits. Okay? For anybody who is dealing with relationship with food, satiety issues, leptin resistance, those would probably be the big three. I would not recommend any type of fasting.
Nope. And this goes for all
Teach your body
of
to be
these
consistent with what you're eating.
attractive, crazy fasting techniques like
Right.
sardine fasting, egg fasting, fat fasting, PSMF. They're all forms of fasting that are unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
What we said before, minimum effective dose.
Yes. So if you're looking for something that is going to work for you for the rest of your life, this is going to be a hard one. Stop trying to fast. Fasting does not need to be part of anybody's protocol on a regular basis. Ever. And I know that goes against everything everybody says.
Yep.
Okay? You do not need to fast. If you want to fast, okay, great. Why do you want to fast? Again, understand why you're doing it. What is the goal? How long are you going to do it? What's the plan? Go into it completely mindful and focused and intentful.
I've got to add something to this.
Yeah.
Fasting is not going to get rid of your loose skin.
Oh my God. No matter what anybody's told you. Sorry.
I'm just going to leave
That's
that
a
right there.
That's a 7.2. Yeah.
Okay, so along the lines of the low fat.
Hold on, before we do this, can you guys? Are we hitting some points for you guys?
I see all.
I hope we're hitting some things you guys have maybe heard. I want to make sure that number one, this is helping somebody, helping you all. But if you know anybody, and I meant to say this at the beginning, and I totally forgot. If you know anybody who's been hearing any of these things or is stuck in any one of these messages or groups or communities, please share this with them. Please help them understand that there's other ways to do things. There are ways that we can help. There are ways that our communities can help. You've got your Facebook group. I've got my Discord. People in there are figuring this stuff out. Get them into our communities so that we can help people figure out what's going to work for them so they're not stuck in these messaging loops that aren't sustainable and working for them. All right. The last one we got.
Final one. This is on the same side of the coin as the eating super low fat and the fasting.
Right.
It's another extreme thing. Getting over 20,000 steps a day. That's the answer.
Right. And to what? The answer to what?
Ooh.
What's the answer? It's the answer to fat loss. It's primarily focused on the goal of getting lean.
And getting moving. Here's the thing. There's nothing
There's a difference.
wrong.
This is the trap. Here's the trap.
Once again, there's nothing wrong with setting a step goal. Great. If you're currently, your ass is on the couch all the time.
Like this.
Okay, this is what I always say to my life. Funny enough, I just put out my cardio guide to my academy yesterday. How and when to implement cardio and the sustainable stage by stage. I think I have 4 stages, 4 phases approach to implementing adding cardio into your program. Because I don't schedule, I don't program cardio for my clients. Well, for my private clients, I might, but for my community, my academy, I don't put cardio in the program because everybody's in the program at a different stage of their journey, looking for different things. Not everybody who's in my training programs is looking to lose fat. Some are focused on purely gaining. So for fat loss in bodybuilding, we use cardio to enhance our fat loss. What I encourage in the first phase of my cardio approach is before you do any structured cardio to just set a step count goal. To first track what you're already doing, just like we say with nutrition.
Yep.
And this is the key for all the other things. If you're trying to figure out what's the right approach for you, start tracking what you're already doing. Track your nutrition, track your food in a tracking app, track your activity level. For you, wherever you are, the next step is going to be a small change from where you are, not some protocol.
Yep.
That completely upends everything you're doing.
Oh my God. Well, we talk about this, right? Stop going to extremes. I want to make a change, so I'm going to completely uproot everything I've been doing and do something completely different.
Unnecessary.
Unnecessary, guys.
So, start with where you are. How many steps are you getting now? If it's 1,500 steps a day, work on making it 3,000.
Right.
Maybe bump that up to 5. Maybe I'm all for a 10K step a day kind of a thing. But ask yourself, 20,000 steps a day or more, what would that take?
Yeah, what would that take?
What would you have to do on a regular basis to get that much activity in your day?
And
do you want to do that for the rest of your life?
And what's the benefit? Here's the thing. If you're doing nothing and you get 5,000 steps a day, that's progress. What's the difference between 5,000 if you're doing nothing and 20,000? Why do you need to do that? That's a big difference. Time, all sorts of different things. Now, here's the other thing. What's the goal? If the ultimate goal is to help you improve your quality of life, if the ultimate goal is to help you improve how you engage in the world around you, then you need to do something other than just walk. How do you move your body? How strong are you? How well do you recover? What's your sleep like? There's a whole bunch of other aspects that go into that stuff, right?
Ashley says I'd have to quit my job to get 20,000 steps a day. You know how they're doing it?
Yeah.
This is how most people are getting that.
Oh, that's a whole nother
steps.
thing, right? Because then there's the cheating of the whole system, right?
But you know what they're doing?
What?
They have a walking pad under their desk.
Yeah.
And they are literally walking all day long while they're working.
Yeah.
That is not fitness, guys. That's not fitness.
No. That is hyper-focused on how can I lose body fat.
And obsessed.
It is.
And it's not improving anything. If anything, it could actually... I have people where I encourage them not to do long bouts of walking.
Well,
walking is great, especially if you're not doing anything else. Start walking, great. But I would rather you not be walking for an hour or more a day at one time.
Right.
I'd rather you take a bunch of breaks throughout your day and do 10-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute walks. But you can end up with sciatica pain. You can end up with it making your injuries worse. Because especially if you're using these walking pads, you're not focused on how you're walking.
Yeah.
You're not focused on your stride. You're not focused on stepping correctly. You're not focused on balance and coordination and all of these things. You could be causing some of your existing injuries to get worse by doing that.
You're not, well, here's the biggest thing when it comes to the walking on pads. And while working, you're not focused on core engagement.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
100%. I guarantee you at some point in time, you're going to be like, why does my lower back hurt? Why do my hips hurt? Because you're not focused on keeping things tight so that you're moving safely. That's a whole nother thing.
Yes.
The other aspect of this, if you're doing 20,000 steps a day, however long that takes you to do it, guess what is elevated the entire time and never gets a break? Starts with a C.
Cortisol.
Okay? If you're concerned and you have about hormone balance, if you're concerned about all of these things,
and you're
why is my
with cortisol,
right? And you're doing things that you can't sleep well. Well, you're in fight or flight. The entire time you're walking, you're on a low level of fight or flight the entire time. Your body never gets
Rest.
a break. What is the key thing that your body needs in order to improve function? After exercise. Starts with an R. Okay?
Recovery.
Recovery. Rest and recovery. If you never give your body a chance to recover, your body never has a chance to improve.
And this is a huge difference, y'all, between resistance training and these long bouts of cardio.
Yep.
Resistance training shouldn't be extended periods of time. The average person does not need to be in the gym for more than an hour a day, hour and a half a day. Those are things
At the most.
we're talking about elite level athletes and physique competitors doing that kind of thing. You don't need that much. So it's a short period of time where you are focused on what you are doing. You are focused on the way you're moving, the intensity of your movements, and then you recover. Versus this constant level of stress and activity.
You're purposefully adding hours of stress to your life. And then you wonder why I'm always stressed. Why is my cortisol always high? Why do I have all these issues?
I can't wind down at
I can't
night.
wind down, whatever. You're creating an imbalance. So that's that, guys. Again, movement, getting steps. We're not saying that's wrong, okay? But it's the extremes. It's
everything.
It's where does it fit into what the overall goal is, and is it sustainable, right? If you're not moving, then get up and get some steps. That's a start, okay? And I think that we can sum this entire conversation up with all of these things that we're talking about are places that people are starting, but you have to move on to something else that's more sustainable down the road. And when you're ready to do that, come talk to us.
And if and when you do get to the point where you are extremely lean, you've got to work on letting go of that goal and setting a new goal.
Yeah.
Getting leaner and leaner and leaner and leaner forever is not the goal.
Right.
Get healthy, get fit, get optimized, and then you have to stop searching for more and more fat loss.
Right. We didn't talk about the context of the messengers. Do we want to do that? Or just leave that for another?
What do you mean? I mean, yeah.
Right. So
Okay,
some of these things that we're hearing, like when we talk about context, guys, I don't know if you guys some of you probably haven't heard me talk about this, but we talk about communication. There's 3 parts to communication. There's 3 parts to context. There's the sender of the message itself, and then the receiver. So when we talk about context, who is saying this? What are they saying? And then who's receiving it? You are the receiver of the message. So we've talked about applying things to your context. We've talked about taking the information and how its context applies to you. We didn't talk about the sender, the people that are saying these things. And I want you to put yourself in, look at your context compared to the people that are talking.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So who are you? What are the characteristics that make up you, your life, your goals, your current experience, your journey, your health, all those different things? And compare that to the people that are sending these messages. Example, some of these things, particularly you can eat as much fat as you want or eat until you're satisfied or full every meal. The people that are saying those, most of them are men who are over 6 feet tall, mostly made up of lean muscle, who live an active life, either working on a farm, professional sports, world-class athletes, who are highly, highly active, highly, highly muscled, and I wouldn't even eat the way that they're doing, right? All of them are 2 to 4 inches, 5 inches taller than I am and outweigh me by about 50 pounds.
Ladies, you should not be trying to keep up with
If you're
these
following
men.
their recommendations are what is working for them. If you don't fit that category, why are you doing what they're recommending?
You've got to consider the context. And then the other people I see who are promoting that are very tall, very slim, small, underweight women who are either very, very active themselves.
Yes. Very active.
Eating
almost hyperactive.
Over 25,000 steps a day themselves.
Right. And working out.
or coming from a background of being severely malnourished.
Right.
Veganism, underweight.
And they're also combining with other things, which we talked about, right? Oh, I'm going to eat as much as I want. I can't get fat on fat, but I'm only doing that every other day. So I'm starving myself on one day, then I'm overeating on another day, right? So that's not a real, that's not the lifestyle I want to live,
Right.
right? I want to eat every day. I love my eggs
Well, and
and
that's why they're
ground beef,
promoting
right?
these things.
Right, because
Yeah.
it's working for them with what they're
But
doing,
you
the
have to consider
combination of
their
things.
context.
Yeah.
Primal Grace just joined and said, promoting what are we talking about? So you missed it. We're right at the end. You're going to have to watch
Right
the
at the
replay.
end, yeah.
The replay will be up on my Instagram at the Keto Bikini Pro and on YouTube at Coach Bronson.
Yep.
But we just talked about, the 8 things.
8 things.
That we see in the carnivore keto space that are being promoted, that the messaging is not healthy for a grand majority of people, or many people.
Sustainable.
Sustainable, right.
Right.
So extremes.
Extremes. Things, to sum this up for anybody who's coming in late, we just went over 8 different things that we have had to work with people on to help rescue them from these messages, from these protocols or methods, because they may have worked at the beginning, they stopped working, and they didn't know what else to do. Because there are flaws in the overall concept and how they apply to sustainability versus immediate or initial progress based on a change that someone is making from where they were before.
And we were ending on the concept of consider the source.
Right. Consider the source.
Where is it coming from? And I don't mean
not credentials.
If it's coming from a doctor, that's exactly where I was
credentials.
going.
We're not talking about credentials.
It's not, they're an expert because they've lost 100 pounds, or they're an expert because they're a doctor.
Right.
Consider who they are, their entire context, and apply it to your own. Do I look like this person in their context?
Am I in the same condition of health as this person? Am I as tall or as active, or do they have the same background? Are they coming from the same place that I was coming from? Even here's a trick one. They came from the same place that I came from, but they're not there now. So are they talking about the same thing that they did 5 years ago? Yes. Oh, that's such a huge one. Right? Are they doing now what they did then? Are they doing now and talking about now what they did 5, 10, 15 years ago? Woo. If they're doing something different now based on where they are now, they've evolved. You are now listening to their evolved state, not the one that matched you 10 years ago.
Woo, that's a big one. That is a huge one.
So you have to understand that kind of thing.
Yep.
Okay? All right, guys.
If you need help applying context, Body Confident.
Get the book.
It's coming out. For the pre-orders, they're going to get it September 3rd, right after Labor Day. September
3rd. Everything ships September 3rd. If you pre-ordered, you should get an email on the 3rd with your ebook. If you got a hardcover, it'll ship on the 3rd. Paperback will be available for order on the 3rd. And I'm expecting the final edits of the Audible version this week so I can get those on Audible. So paperback, Kindle, hardcover, and Audible, fingers crossed on the Audible, should all be available on September 3rd.
And we're doing a launch party.
We're doing a launch party.
Live launch.
Live launch at 5 o'clock on the 3rd. We've got Nat will be on, obviously. Casey Ruff, Dr. Philip Ovadia, who wrote the foreword for the book. Linda Salant, the Carnitarian, will also be on.
Party time.
Party time.
Join us for the live chat for that one. It's
on my YouTube.
You have the link already.
The link is up on my YouTube. If you go to my YouTube, click on it now so that you're notified when we go live, but don't forget.
All right, y'all.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. See ya.
Have a great week.